The Lotus Sutra, Chapter 6, Assurance of Becoming a Buddha. At that time, after speaking these verses, the world-honored one addressed the whole great assembly in words like these. In a future life, this disciple of mine, Mahakāshyapa, will go before 3 million billion world-honored Buddhas, making offerings to them, revering, honoring, and praising them, and proclaiming the innumerable great teachings of the Buddhas everywhere. In his final incarnation, he will be able to become a Buddha whose name will be Radiance Tathagata, one worthy of offerings, truly awakened, fully clear in conduct, well gone, understanding the world, unexcelled leader, trainer of men, teacher of heavenly beings and people, Buddha, world-honored one. His land will be called Radiant Virtue, and his eon will be named Magnificently Adorned. The lifetime of this Buddha will be 12 small eons. His true Dharma will remain in the world for 20 small eons, and his merely formal Dharma will also remain for 20 small eons. His land will be magnificently adorned, free of all evil pollution, rubble, thorns or thistles, and filthy toilet waste. The land will be level and smooth, with no high or low places, hills or valleys. The ground will be lapis lazuli. Lines of jeweled trees and golden cords will mark off its roads. It will have precious flowers scattered over it, and the whole place will be pure and clean. The bodhisattvas of that land will be innumerable hundreds of billions, and there will be innumerable Shravakas. There will be no deeds of the devil there, and though the devil and the devil's people will be there, they will all defend the Buddha Dharma. At that time, the world-honored one, wanting to say what he meant once again, spoke in verse. I say to you monks, in my Buddha eyes I see that in a future life, after innumerable eons, this Kāshyapa will be able to become a Buddha. In future lives, he will go before and make offerings to 3 million billion world-honored Buddhas. For the sake of Buddha wisdom, he will observe noble practices carefully and make offerings to the highest and most honored of people. Having studied and put into practice all the unexcelled wisdom, in his final incarnation, he will be able to become a Buddha. His land will be pure, with lapis lazuli for ground. Many jeweled trees will line the roadsides. With golden cords marking off the roads. Those seeing it will rejoice. It will always be fragrant, with rare flowers scattered everywhere, and many kinds of rare, wonderful things will add to its splendor. The land will be level and smooth, without hills or holes. The many bodhisattvas will be countless in number. They will have gentle dispositions, attain the great divine faculties, and honor and embrace the Buddha's great vehicle sutras. A multitude of Shravakas, free of fault, will be in their final incarnations. Children of the Dharma King will also be countless in number. Even with the eyes of a god, you could not know their number. That Buddha's lifetime will be 12 small eons. His true Dharma will remain in the world for 20 small eons. The merely formal Dharma will also remain for 20 small eons. This will be the story of the world-honored one called Radiance. Then Maha Maudgalyayana, Subhuti, Mahakatyayana, and others, all trembling with excitement, put their palms together in rapt attention, and gazed up into the world-honored one's face. Not for an instant lowering their eyes. With voices in unison, they sang in verse. Great hero, world-honored one, Dharma king of the Shakyas, out of compassion for us, allow us to hear the voice of the Buddha. Knowing the depths of our minds, if you assure us of becoming Buddhas, it would be like being bathed in nectar, changing the heat to cool. Anyone from a land of famine suddenly finding a king's feast, but still cherishing doubts and fears, would not dare to eat right away. Only when instructed by the king would they dare to eat. So it is with us. Reminded of the errors of a small vehicle, we know not how to obtain the unexcelled wisdom of the Buddha. Though we hear the voice of the Buddha telling us we are to become Buddhas, we are still anxious and afraid, like the one who does not dare to eat. But now, if we receive the Buddha's assurance, we will be happy and at peace. Great hero, world-honored one, you always want to put the world at peace. Please give us your assurance, as you would tell a starving person to eat. Then the world-honored one, knowing the thoughts in the minds of those great disciples, addressed all the monks. This Subhuti, in a future life, will come before 3 million billion myriads of Buddhas, making offerings, revering, honoring, and praising them. He will always observe noble practices and follow the Bodhisattva way. In his final incarnation, he will become a Buddha whose name will be Famous Features Tathagata, one worthy of offerings, truly awakened, fully clear in conduct, well gone, understanding the world, an excelled leader, trainer of men, teacher of heavenly beings and people, Buddha, world-honored one. His eon will be called Possessing Jewels, and his land named Birthplace of Jewels. The land will be level and smooth, with crystal for ground, adorned with jeweled trees, and without hills or pits, gravel, thorns or thistles, or feces. The earth will be covered with precious flowers, and the entire place will be pure and clean. The people of that land will live on jeweled terraces in rare and wonderful towers. Shravaka disciples will be innumerable, countless, beyond calculation or metaphor. The multitude of bodhisattvas will be innumerable, tens of millions of billions of myriads. The lifetime of this Buddha will be 12 small eons. His true Dharma will remain for 20 small eons, and the merely formal Dharma will also remain for 20 small eons. This Buddha will always dwell in mid-air, teaching the Dharma to the assembly and saving innumerable bodhisattvas and shravakas. At that time, the world-honored one, wanting to say what he meant once again, spoke in verse. You multitude of monks, I have something to tell you now. Give your full attention to what I have to say. My great disciple, Subhuti, will become a Buddha, whose name will be Famous Features. He will make offerings to innumerable trillions of Buddhas, and following the practices of the Buddhas, gradually fulfill the Great Way. In his final incarnation, he will acquire the 32 characteristics and be as imposing and wonderful as a mountain of jewels. His Buddha land will be unsurpassed in purity and splendor, so that all who behold it will cherish and delight in it. In its midst, the Buddha will liberate innumerable beings. Following his Buddha Dharma will be many bodhisattvas. All of them will have keen faculties and turn the irreversible wheel. His land will always be adorned with bodhisattvas. The multitude of Shravakas will be beyond calculation. All will gain the 3 kinds of knowledge, exercise the 6 divine powers, have the 8 kinds of liberation, and possess great dignity and virtue. The Dharma preached by that Buddha will be revealed through innumerable divine transformations beyond conception. Human and heavenly beings, numerous as the sands of the Ganges, all with palms together, will listen to and receive that Buddha's words. The Buddha's lifetime will be 12 small eons. His true Dharma will remain for 20 small eons, and the merely formal Dharma will also remain for 20 small eons. At that time, the world-honored one once again addressed the assembly of monks and said, "Now I announce to you that this Mahakatyayana in future lives will make offerings to and serve 800 billion Buddhas, revering and honoring them. After those Buddhas have passed into extinction, for each of them he will put up a stupa 1,000 leagues high and 500 leagues of equal width and depth. These stupas will be made of the 7 precious materials: gold, silver, lapis lazuli, shell, agate, pearl, and carnelian. Many flowers, necklaces, paste incense, powdered incense, incense for burning, silk canopies, flags, and banners will be given as offerings to those stupas. After this, he will serve 2 trillion Buddhas in the same way. Having made offerings to all those Buddhas, he will complete his bodhisattva way and become a Buddha whose name will be Jambunada Golden Light Tathagata, one worthy of offerings, truly awakened, fully clear in conduct, well gone, understanding the world, unexcelled leader, trainer of men, teacher of heavenly beings and people, Buddha, world-honored one. His land will be level and smooth, with crystal for ground. It will be adorned with jeweled trees, and have golden cords to mark off the roads. The ground will be covered with wonderful flowers, and the entire place will be pure and clean, so that anyone seeing it will rejoice. The 4 evil paths will not exist there, those of purgatories, hungry spirits, animals, and asuras, but the human and heavenly beings will be many, and innumerable billions of Shravakas and Bodhisattvas will adorn the land. The lifetime of that Buddha will be 12 small eons. His true Dharma will remain in the world for 20 small eons, and the merely formal Dharma will also remain for 20 small eons. Then the world-honored one, wanting to say what he meant once again, spoke in verse. "You multitude of monks, give me your complete attention. In what I teach, there is nothing that is not true. This Katyayana will give various kinds of excellent things as offerings to Buddhas. After the Buddhas have passed into extinction, he will put up stupas of the 7 precious materials and give flowers and incense as offerings to their remains. In his final incarnation, he will acquire the wisdom of the Buddha and reach impartial, proper awakening. His land will be pure and clean. He will save innumerable trillions of living beings, and from all the living beings of the 10 directions, he will receive offerings. The radiance of this Buddha none will be able to surpass. His Buddha name will be Jambunada Golden Light. Numberless, uncountable bodhisattvas and shravakas, rejecting all ideas of being, will adorn his land. Then the world-honored one once again addressed the Great Assembly. Now I say to you that this Mahamauddgayayana will make offerings to 8,000 Buddhas, revering and honoring them. After those Buddhas have passed into extinction, for each of them he will put up a stupa 1,000 leagues high and 500 leagues of equal width and depth. These stupas will be made of a composite of the 7 precious materials: gold, silver, lapis lazuli, seashell, agate, pearl, and carnelian. Many flowers, necklaces, paste incense, powdered incense, incense for burning, silk canopies, flags, and banners will be given as offerings to those stupas. After this, he will serve 2 million billion Buddhas in the same way. Then he will become a Buddha, whose name will be Tamalapatra Sandalwood Fragrance Tathagata, one worthy of offerings, truly awakened, fully clear in conduct, well gone, understanding the world, unexcelled leader, trainer of men, teacher of heavenly beings and people, Buddha, world-honored one. His eon will be named Full of Joy, and his land Mind-Pleasing. The land will be level and smooth, with crystal for ground, and adorned with jeweled trees. The ground will be covered with pearls and flowers, and the entire place will be clean and pure, so that those seeing it will rejoice. There will be many human and heavenly beings, and countless bodhisattvas and shravakas. The lifetime of that Buddha will be 24 small eons. His true Dharma will remain in the world for 40 small eons, and the merely formal Dharma will remain for 40 small eons. Then the world-honored one, wanting to say what he meant once again, spoke in verse. This, my disciple, the great Mahamauddgayayana, after casting off this body, will see 8,002 million billion world-honored Buddhas. For the sake of the Buddha way, he will make offerings to them and revere them. Where these Buddhas are, he will always observe noble practices, and for innumerable eons embrace the Buddha Dharma. After those Buddhas have passed into extinction, he will put up stupas of the 7 precious materials, with golden spires visible from afar. And with flowers, incense, and music, he will make offerings to the stupas of the Buddhas. Having gradually fulfilled the Bodhisattva way, in the land called Mind-Pleasing, he will be able to become a Buddha named Tamalapatra Sandalwood Fragrance. The lifetime of that Buddha will be 24 eons. For the sake of human and heavenly beings, he will always preach the Buddha way. Shravakas, as numerous as the sands of the Ganges, will have the 3 kinds of knowledge, the 6 divine powers, and great dignity and virtue. Countless bodhisattvas will be firm in will and diligent. In the wisdom of the Buddha, they will never backslide. After this Buddha passes into extinction, his true Dharma will remain for 40 small eons, and the merely formal Dharma will do the same. You, my disciples with full dignity and virtue, 500 in number, will all receive assurance of becoming Buddhas in the future. About the causes and conditions of previous lives, mine and yours, I am about to speak. Listen carefully.